This is my audience. Alright, so my speech is about Childish Gambino's Because of the Internet, and I'm explaining the meaning behind the album. So every album has either a story behind it or some sort of meaning behind it, and it inspires the listener to do something or just inspires them. So with this album, Because of the Internet, there's a hidden story behind it, and I'll be explaining the story and the meanings behind the songs. So a little bit about Gambino. His real name is Donald Glover. He is a singer, writer, producer. He's many things, and this is his second album that he released, he released back in December 10th, 2013. And it's one of his well-known albums and most loved albums. So the story picks up right after his first album, Camp, and the character is just called The Boy. That's the name of the main character, and we see him go on a bus. He's on a bus ride leaving the camp, and then we see him hop in the car with his dad, driving off, back home. Then we jump a few years later, and we see the boy all grown up and living in his father's mansion, and he's partying all the time with his friends and just, using his dad's money for everything, basically. So the songs, there's 19 songs on the album. Many of them are interludes, which are very short. There's no lyrics, nothing. It's just kind of beats, basically. So I won't explain those because they're just, there's nothing to explain. So the first song is Crawl. And according to a website called Genius, this song may refer to the opening scene of a screenplay, for example, Star Wars, how you see the title and then you see what's it about, the movie. And then the second song, World Star, is about a famous website that is still pretty famous now. It basically just showed clips of people doing crazy stuff or whatever. And then the next song, Telegraph Avenue, which according to Genius, talks about how Gambino reflects on going out of his way to reconcile with an old flame. But in the story, we see the boy driving to Oakland, and he gets a text from his ex saying to not come see me, but he still goes and sees her, but she doesn't want to see him, so then he eventually leaves, and then him and his friends go to this restaurant and just kind of chill. So the next song, Sweatpants, is about basically Gambino gloating about how rich he is. He's talking about the boy, and he's just how rich he is, and how he has so much money and he can do whatever he wants. Next song, 3005, talks about how the boy doesn't want to end up alone, and he's scared of the future, and he just doesn't want to die alone. The next song, Flight of the Navigator. This song talks about, or in the story, the boy loses consciousness in the story because he took some pills and mixed it up with something, and then he lost consciousness, and then he ends up in a hospital, and then we're throughout the song we're in his mind, and we see what he's thinking about and what he's going through. And so the next song is Alex of Stockholm. It just really simply talks about life and death, nothing too special. Earn talks about the themes of space, loneliness, and death, and it's all in one take basically in that song. And the song could also refer to his to the boy's father in the story, which he passes away mysteriously, and he has his urn with his father, and he doesn't know what to do with it because he was never really connected to his father that well. So the next song, Pink Toes, talks about the boy trying to sell drugs to make money since he's losing his father's money, and he's trying to figure out how to make some money. And then the next song, Earth's Oldest Computer, talks about the boy going through a midlife crisis, and he thinks that human life is far too short for genuine fulfillment, and he's just having so many thoughts racing in his mind, and he just doesn't know what to do with his life. And then the last song of the album, "Life, the Biggest Troll," it corresponds to the credits of the story, and shows how the boy reflects Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover. And also that song kind of is like saying that life is like trolling you. It's like a joke, and it just it messes with you, like it makes you think stuff, and life just kind of wants to bring you down, but like it's just doing that as a joke, basically. And so in conclusion, this album is very interesting and unique. Not many albums have stories, but Gambino wanted more of a story than an album, and he is a writer and producer and all that. So he wrote like a whole screenplay for this album and everything. Each of these songs have their own meanings, and I try my best to explain each of the meanings in each of those songs. But I hope you enjoyed my speech, and thank you for listening. And there's my audience.